It's more Brad Pitt.
Yeah. We're on the pit stop.
Pit stop. 30 Days of Pitt. I'm Jason.
I'm Jules.
And we
doing
doing filmographies. Another powerhouse from Brad Pitt here. No Way Out.
Right. I'd seen this before.
I had not, but I knew everything about it because they cover it in the erotic 80s on You Must Remember This.
Welcome to another episode of You Must Remember This.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember how much of the movie there is before we actually get to the meat of it.
It's actually, that's a pretty good setup though, buddy. They really kind of lure you in nicely.
Yeah, 1987.
I was impressed because as soon as you get to the meat.
We have the meat.
Whoa! This is great. This movie's fantastic.
It's almost a gear shift, but it's established that this world around this whole relationship exists, so it's technically not.
Yeah, they built it up nicely.
They did. We drank at the same time.
Yeah, I'm drinking sparkling water.
So, No Way Out, 1987, rated R, 1 hour and 54 minutes. It's got something that I absolutely hate.
Bad music?
No. You know, I love movies that say the name of the movie in the movie.
Do they do that?
They don't. But I hate movies when the tagline is just describing the type of movie it is.
Oh.
Which for this is a tightly wound and engrossing thriller.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Get the hell out of here with that shit.
Fuck off.
Budget estimated $15 million. Gross estimated $35.5 million.
Really? It's all made?
Well, it's 1987.
Huh.
35 mil is probably closer to 60 mil. But it's an adult drama thriller. You know, it's not a
I think people like this movie
Marvel
a lot,
movie.
though.
Yeah, in hindsight, I think it's gone on to be one of the good ones, you know? It's a remake of a 1948 film called The Big Clock.
Really?
Yeah.
What a great name.
I will say, in interviews, Sean Young said that the director, Roger Donaldson, made her lift her shirt and show him her breasts. She also says that she was fine with being naked in certain scenes, but Kevin Costner, who was dressed, was very nervous about her being nude.
You know, her forthcomingness, I think, is part of the reason she kind of got thrown to the wayside. I think she called out quite a handful of people.
I imagine. Now, originally it's been stated that Michelle Pfeiffer turned down the role for Susan Atwell. Also, Priscilla Presley apparently actively pursued the role of Susan Atwell.
Interesting.
Yes. Now, it's been said Robert Mitchum, Paul Newman, James Coburn, and Gregory Peck turned down the role of David Bryce.
The Gene Hackman role, right?
Mm-hmm. It's also been said, I've heard, Tommy Lee Jones, John Voight, Donald Sutherland, Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, James Caan, Robert Duvall, Burt Reynolds, James Cromwell, Donald Moffat, Sean Connery, Robert Redford, and Jason Robards were considered for the Gene Hackman role.
Who the fuck is Donald Moffat?
The Thing.
1982.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot. And when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!
In the Manila Strip Club, they played the song Wild Thing, which apparently was originally written by John Voight's brother under a pseudonym.
Do you think that's true?
I don't know. Stupid. And a bunch of motherfuckers were considered for the role of Tom Farrell, played by Kevin Costner. Most notably, Mel Gibson, Harrison Ford, Michael Biehn, which maybe when they were talking about slashing the budget, perhaps. But arguably, this is the role that launched Kevin Costner's career as a leading man.
I feel very strongly about Costner in this movie. We'll get to it. But
He's shirtless at one point, and there is zero definition.
Oh, really?
Which just harkens back to a time when you don't have to be cut to fuck to take off your shirt in a movie.
Well, and then you rewind 30 years prior to that, and you're kind of like fat and shitty looking. And you're
Well,
still
yeah,
like, oh
men
man, look
wore
at that heartthrob.
their pants up to, if not above, their belly button back in those days.
But in this one, we got those little cut-off shorts he's wearing, really showing off those inner thighs.
Dennis Berkeley, who played the dock worker that rented them the sailboat.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
The National Kidney Foundation wants, hey, they need that old car you got laying around.
He's dead.
He is. He actually teams up with Costner as one of Roy McAvoy's humorous gang in the movie Tin Cup.
funny. He was really in a
I love
fucking
him.
hell of a lot.
He's like a motorcycle gang guy
Yeah.
in some stuff.
I actually ended up thinking about him quite a bit watching this.
Yeah, he's one of those reliable guys, you know. Kevin Costner and director Robert Donaldson would reunite for the 2000 drama 13 Days.
Oh, that's really well respected.
Yeah.
People like that one.
It's his return to government portrayals because he was also in a little movie called JFK. Although this was not known at the time of the movie's release, many years later it was revealed that there really was a cell of Russian sleeper agents who had been hiding in plain sight in the United States for decades. Several of them had children, co-workers, friends, and neighbors who all had no idea they were spies. In 2010, a group of these so-called illegals were arrested and ultimately returned to Russia in a trade for some Americans that Russia was holding. See also The Americans. There's one point where Kevin Costner orders a drink and he says "Stoli" straight up, referring to Stolichnaya, which is a brand of vodka that is Russian, hinting both towards the film's subplot and twist ending.
Yeehaw.
Now, also, remember that part later on when Kevin Costner is being chased and he gets hit by a car?
Yeah.
He performed that stunt. And the insurance guy on set went to the director. He goes, "Don't you ever do that again." He performed a lot of his stunts in the movie. He even drove while not wearing his prescription glasses. Real rebel. It's been said that some of this movie was actually filmed in the Pentagon, but then it was also said that it was not. It was like the Office of Interior or some shit.
I would find it hard to believe that they let them in government offices.
They did allow them to film on the front steps.
Sure.
Which is why Kevin Costner's running. Because they're you get a snippet of time. Because even Callie said while we were watching this, you don't often see a uncut camera sort of aerial shot that actually establishes where the Pentagon is in relation to the White House, which they do in here. You often just Jason Bourne, they just show the CIA, Pentagon, right? But in here, you actually quite visibly get a sort of detailed mapping of its location. Why don't you hit us with that synopsis
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
before you fall asleep
Oh,
and
no.
empty your pockets?
No Way Out. A sailor named Tom, Kevin Costner, meets an escort named Susan, Sean Young. Hitting it off, they jumpstart a whirlwind love affair set to the romantic backdrop of sailing and black tie events. But when Susan's jealous, older gentleman suitor, David, Gene Hackman, catches wind of the blossoming affair, chopping waves isn't the only thing this young couple will have to watch out for. Because there's no way out.
Mm-hmm.
She's an escort?
Mm-hmm.
How did I not pick up on that? Explain to me what my brain did wrong to not pick up on that.
Because you're stupid.
So here's the thing. It's a very weird relationship. We do see Gene Hackman with her in a romantic entanglement while in her bedroom at one point.
Uh-huh.
But we then later learn, and this is the reason why Kevin Costner is free to run into her at the beginning. Gene Hackman basically pays her to go to these events so he can see her in public, she says. So he's with his wife, but he just wants to be able to look over and see her.
There she is.
Because she's got something special.
Not that fucking hair.
No,
Her hair in this movie is so upsetting.
Ill-advised.
It's the ugliest shit I've ever seen.
It's the Princess Diana, but it's also dirty blonde. Or brunette, but light brunette.
I mean, it's the horrible shape of it. The 80s.
That, but it's also not her natural color.
It's a very unfortunate hair style.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's like a poodle haircut, kind of.
Yeah. What's not unfortunate?
Them titties.
Them titties.
I always thought I really was wildly attracted to Sean Young, and then she has such ugly hair in every scene of this movie. Even though she's naked, I'm just
it's the time, though.
You're ruining it for. I totally know that.
You know.
And even her dress that she wears at one point, I was like, that shit is
God,
ugly.
that black dress with the gold whatever on it. In the beginning, it's like a regular fine strapless black dress, but then there's this gold thing that wraps around her and goes over her. Her clothing is very bad. So the movie opens and they're at this event, right? For some reason, Kevin Costner takes a station wagon cab, gets out, walking around. He sees her. He's smitten by her. She's sort of eyeballing him.
But she's also like, get out of here.
Right, and they joke a little bit. He eventually sidles up to her. Gene Hackman walks by him as very brusque, and he sidles up to her, and he goes,
You're pretty impressed with me.
No.
Yes, you are.
and walks away. But then he comes up to her again, and she's like, yeah, I am impressed by you. And he goes, well, how about we get out of here and we go have sex in the back of your limousine? So they get into their limo, and they're just hot and heavy. I'm kind of thinking at this point, they already know each other. They're just pretending to not know each other.
Nope.
No, they don't know each other at all. And he probably does not have a prophylactic.
No, he's definitely raw dogging it, dude.
And the limo driver is just like, ah.
He's really pretty obscene the way he's just staring at them.
He is. He's adjusting the mirror so he can get a good look at that cooch. And Kevin Costner goes, hey, buddy, why don't you put up the thing? Apparently that line was unscripted.
Like they were just supposed to keep going right in front of him.
I guess. You can also raise the thing from back there.
I would imagine. Kevin Costner. How do you feel about Kevin Costner?
I like him.
I like him too. I've never really... We talked about how unhandsome he was in the Field of Dreams episode. Real dad-like.
He can have a real shark face. You know, that nose can really hook up and bridge and give him a real fin-looking nose. And he's got, I don't want to like judge anybody, but a slightly emasculated voice, especially when he gets angry. God damn it, Liz, when he does in JFK. It cracks. It gets really high and nasally. He's not a masculine man's man, but he often portrays a real salt of the earth man's man. Dances with Wolves, Open Range,
Waterworld.
Untouchables.
Unforgiven?
Yeah, a lot of uns. Man o' Steel. But in this, I mean, he's very much a cuck at times. He's playing a little cuck boy.
Yeah.
Little cuck fuck boy.
I was impressed. I thought he was pretty attractive in this because he's like 20 pounds lighter than he is in Field of Dreams. Like he's got a real slim
I
face.
suppose so, yeah.
And this is the only time I've ever like...
Because I think he bulked up a little bit for Bull Durham, which is at the same time as Field of Dreams. Because, you see, like I said, you see him in here with his shirt off, and there's like no tone. You know, but that's how guys were, just guys.
Yeah, I feel like he looks really good in this. He also has kind of a dangerous
His hair's a little fucked up, though, right?
Maybe.
Like, it's short because he's a naval guy, but it also does a Elvis ducktail thing a little bit.
In the front?
In the front. Kind of looks like he's balding on the top. I don't know, but...
Did you think he had a dangerous look in his eye a little bit?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before with
and
him.
It needs to be there, but you don't know why it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the impression that obviously he's trying to, save his quote-unquote innocent ass, but it really works. He's doing some shit in here that I think really works, and to the advantage of the surprise ending. Because it starts, actually, with that.
How did you actually meet the Secretary of Defense?
I was introduced to him by Pritchard. I met him when I was in college.
He's being interrogated in a room, and he's bloody, but you assume he's giving a deposition or he's being debriefed on the events of the movie that are going to unfurl. So, they really just fuck in this cab or limo. And then they go to her friend Nina's apartment.
Is it Iman?
Iman, yeah. She's got a lot of foundation on to lighten her, I think.
Oh, bummer.
Which is very weird. And so she's like,
It better be good. We need your bed.
Go back to my house. My clothes are in the limo. Just put those on. She goes, all right, girl, it's the 80s. She leaves, and it's very weird. I would be very concerned at this point if a woman I just raw-dogged and then introduced myself to is now taking me to her friend's apartment because we can absolutely not go back to her apartment. But her friend can go back to her apartment.
Why can't they go to his place?
I don't think he has one.
He can get a hotel room?
No, he does. He has a running apartment.
Yeah, why wouldn't he just go to a hotel room if he didn't? Either way, like, why do we have to go to a third party's apartment?
I don't know, because we later find out that, well, we'll get there. Then we next see them in a cab. I'm assuming it's the next day. They're making out. The cab driver's like, come on, I gotta get more fares. They're at the airport.
This is a loading zone. Get the fuck out of here.
The cop even says, hey, fucko, move it. And so, they're kissing, and he leaves. He jumps on a domestic flight to go to the Philippines.
Why does he go there?
Maybe he ends up there. Next we see him, he's on a boat, and it's choppy waters, and it's storming, and everybody's wearing shorts. And they go, oh no, the guy that's tethered to the ship at the front, he fell. He's about to go overboard. Call the alarm. Get in the search emergency team or whatever.
Kevin Costner's like, I don't need a fucking rope. I'm going to crawl out there while the waves are hitting us and tipping this boat around, and I'm going to save the guy that has a rope on him.
Fuck you, un-American pussies. I'm an American.
I'm a true American.
I'm an American.
This is the spirit of America. It's in me.
America through the eyes of two Americans.
I wasn't born in Hawaii or Kenya.
Yeah.
So he goes out there, and they're like, what the hell, Kevin? You ain't even tied up. That guy actually is tied up, so even though he's hanging off the side of the boat, he's not really at risk of falling over. And so Kevin goes out. He's just sloshing around. It's all
intense.
moist.
It's pretty good.
It is.
Really looks like a soundstage. So.
Yeah, I wonder if they filmed this in the water tank that I saw when I was on my Universal tour in Hollywood. And so he gets the guy over, and then the rescue crew shows up. Again, he was not any real threat, and the crew was there, and his rope was hanging on. So Kevin Costner becomes a war hero. Well, a hero. I don't think they're at war.
No.
And Gene Hackman sees him in the paper like, hey, we need this guy because me and Pritchard, a young...
Will Patton.
Looking good, although his hair's a little fucked up.
Yeah, I was really excited that he was in it, and I was like, oh, we're going to see hunky Patton again.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
No.
But you do get to see a very interesting Patton.
Yes, and I think he's playing the role extremely well for the kind of uncouth reveal that comes later. Gene Hackman's having breakfast. Will Patton shows up, and they're talking about some briefing on a secret sub, and he gives him a menu, and he goes, order some breakfast. But then immediately is like, let's get out of here. Kind of disappointed he didn't get to order his breakfast.
Yeah.
But they
Where are my eggs?
Yeah. Because he's the...
Put them in a box.
What is he? The defense secretary? And there's a senator there who really wants the secret sub, and the CIA corporal or whatever who is friends with that senator and also will work hard to make sure that they make the sub, even though it's apparently a waste of money.
Which Hackman's trying to reveal, right?
Yes.
This is actually a pretty interesting portrayal of what I guess it would be like for these weird pockets of offices where you don't really know what they do, but it's this like give, take, push thing with weird team members they're recruiting.
Right. Everybody's got, a second in command who does the dirty dealings and shit. So they pass the senator, and he's like, hey, what's this I hear about you trying to not do this sub? And he goes, oh, don't worry, I won't do anything without consulting you. And they walk away, and he goes, do you believe that? And Fred Thompson is the CIA guy. He goes, I don't believe that shit one bit.
That's a good Fred Thompson.
And so they go back to Gene Hackman's office, and he goes, hey, get me this Kevin Costner bloke.
You've been talking about him. Get me that guy.
You know him. He's a hero of some sort. Bring him over here because we're going to need him to do the liaison while we try to tank this sub. So we see Kevin Costner. He's in the Philippines, in Manila. He's walking around with a guy. He's got a bag. A little boy tries to grab it from him. I'll carry this, mister. A real short, round-looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he goes...
Don't run, huh? If you run, I knock dog's doo-doo out of you.
And they chase him. Even though there's an ADR line where it goes, leave it, forget about it, they're still chasing him. And then finally he goes, don't worry, it's just my underwear and toothbrush. Then we see them next in a bar. He's trying to call Sean Young, who we see in her apartment just lounging in a nightie.
Yeah.
Looking super porcelain. Finally, the call goes through. She answers it, but then hangs up because Hackman is there.
Hackman.
Yeah. And he goes, what happened? Did I get disconnected? And he rips the phone off the wall. Now, we are seeing two voluptuous Filipinos dancing topless on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the point where I'm thinking, young, white sailors, where's my pit? I'm scanning.
There should be a pitman.
If there's going to be a pitman, it's here.
Yeah.
Ain't there.
Nope.
In fact. So
what do they say? He smashes that telephone, and everybody's like, what the fuck?
What the hell's wrong with this guy?
And then the guy who looks like Kevin Brennan, Neil Brennan's brother, is like,
Wild thing!
He broke the phone! He's a wild thing!
Yeah, let's all go back to ogling these women in an uncomfortably close manner. And so then he comes back to the States because he's summoned by Gene Hackman. We see him in an apartment with the landlord from Spider-Man 2.
Rent? No,
I'm just joking.
Okay.
He's some Russian
Rent?
guy. Saved your apartment. You back? Yeah, I'm back, man. I guess he can just come and go as he pleases and rent this apartment.
I mean, you don't think it's just always there? Like, he doesn't just always have it rented?
Well, that's what I mean. He's renting it in perpetuity.
Yes.
Apparently he can afford that, and then just comes and goes as he pleases.
I mean,
even though we never actually see him in the apartment.
I think he's always working, so you would just have an apartment, but you're
Right.
like never there. You're just flitting around the world.
But you're renting it in
Right,
perpetuity.
But I mean, you're not renting anywhere else. You're like on base.
No, but I mean, like, just live on the base. He's only now in town long enough where he needs an apartment.
But what about all of his stuff?
What stuff? We don't see stuff. He's living with Sean Young at her apartment.
But if it was you,
effectively,
there would be VHSs.
Oh, there'd be VHSs everywhere.
Nintendos
up the wazoo.
Cats. You can have those cats just be there for years.
Yep.
Nobody feeds them.
Yep.
Just like the crow, and they're fine when you come home.
Yep.
Still looking white and clean.
Just looking pristine.
Gabriel. I thought you were dead.
Now, he then goes to Sean Young's apartment, and she is super giddy. They're just jumping around. He's walking on her bed with his fucking shoes on.
Yeah.
Hello?
He's like, hey, why the fuck did you hang up on me?
I purposefully walked in dog diarrhea so I can stomp on your bed. Fuck your couch!
Fuck your couch!
So they start fooling about, and she pulls out a big, weird, wonky camera.
Oh, man, there still has beer left. I stopped drinking it a while ago.
Just as much of this movie is left, too. She takes a picture of him, and he goes, nah, and he pulls out the thing. It's one of those cameras where you take a picture and you pull out the thing.
Yeah, it's the old Polaroid.
And there's a
before
negative
it
and shit.
ejected it without the flap.
He goes, oh, I think I brought it out too early. And she says something like, you look like a baboon in a dark closet to him. Which, later on in the movie, when they're trying to reconstruct the photo, to show an example of how they do it, they use a photo
of the baboon.
Of a baboon.
Yeah.
It's called back, as they say.
Oh, God. All that computer shit at the end is pretty hilarious, dude.
It is.
Like when they bring up like addresses on the screen. And it's just like, this isn't a program.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, shut up.
Even the program that they're running to do the picture, it's like, what technology exists?
You guys hired somebody to move a square around on,
like, what
on
did
a
you do?
blurry
Did you
picture.
just upload a database of 10 million pictures of a white man? I mean, how do you even know what picture you're looking for? It's so silly.
Yeah.
But they fool around, and she goes, well, I got to get going to a party.
I don't think I'm going to drink the rest of that.
Don't
man.
worry about it.
Oh,
I'm
fuck.
going to pour the two out that I have at home.
God damn.
I tried too, and it's brutal.
God, it's still getting me.
Makes my teeth hurt. So she goes, well, I got to go to this party because Hackman is needing me to be in public.
Not Pac-Man, Hackman.
Hackman. And he goes, well, God damn it, Lil. You know, I don't. What is that from? Oh, that's from Eddie Murphy's stand-up. So he's a little jelly. You know, she shows a jewelry box that Hackman had given to her that she keeps her jewelry in that comes into play later, even though I don't understand how. So she's like, well, I got to go, man. And he sits around in his tuxedo smoking cigarettes. So then Kevin Costner goes to the same party. And Hackman is there with his wife, but he's also eyeballing his mall. Pritchard, who is Will Patton's character, he's kind of just there, but he's also sort of chaperoning her. And Kevin Costner's there. She goes, you here? We see Brad Pitt, even though it doesn't exactly look like what I would expect Brad Pitt to look like at this point.
I mean, we got to go into it. We're not just glossing over it.
No, I'm setting it up.
Okay.
So we see Kevin Costner. He's watching people. There's a scene where they bring in Maori dancers because apparently the director is from New Zealand. So he interjected that in there as a cultural throwback to his heritage. And over Kevin Costner's shoulder this whole time, we're seeing what looks like it could be a guy that resembles Brad Pitt.
Kind of, it's mostly out of focus.
He's super red. The quality of the film, even though I rented it on a digital streaming service, wasn't great.
Well, yeah, I had a good copy.
So I'm struggling with, and I look at him, I go, oh, that guy looks like Brad Pitt, but I don't think that's Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Callie goes, oh, there's Brad Pitt. I go, I don't think that's Brad Pitt. And I missed it the first time. So when I watch it again, I go back, I watch it again, and I'm like, fuck, man. I mean, it looks like him, but he looks 20 pounds heavier than he did and obviously older than he did in Hunk. I mean, this feels like a 30-year-old Pitt. not a 26-year-old Pitt.
No, he looks darker, dirtier.
He's redder. He's huskier.
I was wondering if they olded him up to make him fit in with the party, but I don't see why they would really do that.
Why? Yeah, they wouldn't go through they would just get a different extra.
He looks kind of like the Brad Pitt of Babylon.
He looks more like Leonardo DiCaprio now, who's super bloated from drinking a lot, than he does Brad Pitt, who doesn't strike me as a guy that parties all that hard.
Do you think Leo's bloated from drinking, or do you just think his Russian, Eastern European heritage is coming out and he's just got wider features? He's wide.
Could be. He's going down a real Alec Baldwin path.
I mean, I guess if he busted his ass, he could be scrawny.
He'd be dating them 18-year-olds and trying to be about it, you know? And I don't know. But sure enough, the split second before they cut away, he laughs.
And it's the Pitt laugh, we all know. Yeah, we can't do it.
No. So I will say that that's probably him.
It's definitely him.
I'll say it's probably him.
100% him.
I'm interested to see now Better Off Zero. Better Off? No. What is it? Next to Zero? Less than Zero.
Less than Zero.
So we see Pritt.
We
see Chris Pritt and Brad Pratt. Then they go away. And him and the lady leave to do something. And eventually they go on a trip. And they're driving in her what looks like a Porsche, but I don't think it is a Porsche. Might be an Alfa Romero. And they go up to the Adirondacks, some sort of a country area from, they don't call it the Adirondacks, but I think there are Adirondacks there.
Upstate
D.C., I guess. And they get a bed and breakfast. For some reason, the bellhop is dressed like a French lord dandy from the 1700s. You remember that?
Yeah, kind of.
He's got the fringe and the silk. And he gives him a $20 fucking tip.
Is it 20? I wasn't sure how much he gave him, but he's like,
well, thank you very much, sir.
I want you to take care of us, okay?
I will. You guys newlyweds?
You can go.
You need me to fuck her while you watch?
This is going to jam you up later. And he goes, hey, just be cool to us. And so then they go out boating. They grease the palm. They get that guy to rent them his boss's sailboat.
No, why not? That's my boss's boat. It ain't for rent.
Let's give him $400 or something.
He gives him 60, and he goes, nah, why? And he gives him another 20, $80.
That's it?
To jeopardize his job.
Yeah.
This guy, and not only his job, but if the boat's damaged, he probably would have to pay for it.
I thought it was hundreds of dollars.
$80 will do the trick.
So
again, it's 1987.
3 CDs?
So it's $200. So they go out sailing, and they're kissing, and they come back. They're having a romantic time. And he goes, why don't you leave Gene Hackman? And she goes, oh, you just don't understand. The phone rings. She unplugs it. Then all of a sudden, she hears a Chrysler Reliant pull up outside.
They're back at her apartment.
They are.
They aren't on the vacation anymore.
No.
You didn't say that,
They
right?
were. I did. I said they're back at her apartment.
Oh, fuck.
It was probably a weekend affair. Now, she apparently knows Gene Hackman well enough to be able to distinguish his vehicle pulling up, parking, and the engine turning off. She rushes over to the window.
Is it kind of funny that his car, this is very clearly a super nice car back then?
A Chrysler Reliant, yeah.
But then you'd also be like, that's kind of maybe I would get that as my first car for $800.
I mean, honestly, if you're going Chrysler line, he would probably have a New Yorker, which is a really nice LeBaron, which itself is a really nice Reliant. But, maybe he's on government salary. So she looks out the window and she sees his hand.
Spending all of his money on escorts.
That he doesn't sleep with as much as he likes to just see out in the public. So she freaks out. She goes, oh my God, Gene Hackman is downstairs.
I'm begging you, please, just go now out the back door. I'm sorry, just...
When I go, it'll be through the front door.
This is really Telly Savalas shit here with this Hackman shit. I'm enjoying it a lot.
And he goes, you have got to be kidding me.
I fucking love you, and I will not be sent out like trash.
It's a favor to me just this one time. Please go. I promise I'll work everything out, all right?
I love you. And he never says it back to her this whole time.
No, he fucks up. He should have.
For the record.
Dude, this is
No, because this is end of the relationship material for me right here. Okay, I'm fine with you. I know what your profession is. You're seeing Gene Hackman. Fine. We seem to have something real here. But also, he's in a position where he's not really committing either. right? It's a fun DC fling. But the moment you ask me
To go out the back door?
to slip out the back so you can get some hack, this train is off track.
She doesn't want the hack, though. I think she's nervous and frightened of him.
Oh, absolutely.
He's powerful.
Of course.
It's not like she's like, I mean, that's my primary dick and your backup, so
but
you gotta
she
go.
doesn't explain that.
Yeah.
And not only that, she keeps going, I love you. I'll leave him, I swear.
But, not like this, because he'll just kill us both.
True. Well.
I mean, he shouldn't, but
no,
he's going to kill one of them.
Mm-hmm. So Kevin Costner slips out the back and he gives her a look. Then he walks out to the street and puts his bag on the ground and stands there and eyeballs Hackman as he walks up to the door. And Hackman looks over and he sees him. Now.
Shadows. Could have used those in Crow City of Angels.
But we're only 10 feet away and we can visibly identify the fact that it's,
it's
Kevin Costner.
I was going to say Tom Cruise.
Who he knows intimately enough.
Yeah, they kiss.
They do.
Yeah.
But he doesn't recognize him. So he goes in and, he's like, hey, baby. And he lets himself in because he has a key because he pays the rent, which apparently he pays maybe to her in cash. So there's no paper trail.
Maybe.
Or is his name on the lease?
I don't know. This is also why he's driving that car.
And he's all like,
You've been out of town.
You were on a vacation, right? She goes, yeah. With a man? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, who was it?
Nobody you know.
Yeah. Oh, nobody you would know.
Definitely not Kevin Costner.
I know everybody. I know a lot of people, he says.
How would you know who I would know?
How would you know?
I'm sure it's of no importance to you whom you sleep with, but it's of considerable importance to me.
Why worry? There's plenty left. Get out of here, you bastard! Get out!
I pay the rent in this goddamn apartment.
It's a nice apartment.
It is. It's got multi-levels. She's
Back
running
door.
around. She runs upstairs. And it isn't even just a staircase that goes up. It goes up to a level and then up one more.
Uh-huh.
And originally they filmed it outside on some random corner in D.C. And then they were going to film the interiors on a set. But they actually really liked the way it looked. So they filmed a lot of this inside the house that was used as the establishing exterior shot as well.
Should we tweet it?
Fun fact for you. We should go there and
Let's
reenact this.
Tweet the building.
Yeah.
You want me to slap you? Okay.
Throw me down
We'll take turns.
So she's upstairs now, and it's getting a little violent. But
it's intimidating. He's scary.
Yeah, he's losing his shit. He's not a cuckold. He slapped her already, but he goes, look, I apologize for slapping you. I have gone way too far here.
But I'm so hard right now.
And she goes, but your dick's little.
Don't know what to do. What? Did she say that?
No, she doesn't. But she says something that causes him to slow motion backhand her, which sends her sailing over the railing down. And they do a really good shot of her overhead as she's not moving, but it appears as if she is.
Yeah.
Very much the same shot that they use in Ballistic X versus Sever.
Oh, God, you've seen that?
I have. When they shoot a guy who's a sniper on the thing, and he falls, and the shot is overhead as it follows him, as he lands on a car, and it just Michael Jackson's all over the place.
Catches fire and starts screaming? Or
the
what?
windows explode.
Oh.
Which they do in the sequel to The Crow, called The Crow City of Angels.
Okay.
And so she falls through a glass table. I don't think we see her strike her head.
Nope.
Nothing stabs her.
I was very upset in the scene because I said, okay, she hit middle of her back first. Mm-hmm. There's not a drop of blood
14
in this entire thing.
15 feet maybe?
Right.
Maybe 20.
I could believe if, she got gutted.
Mm-hmm. Or bashed her head.
She's dead instantly. And I was like, what could possibly have happened? It's not like she broke her neck.
No.
But what happened?
She's just dead.
No, they say she broke her neck.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, later on they say she broke her neck.
Weird.
That's not the part that hit.
Also, because after we see her crash, and then later when we see Pritchard see her laying there,
the only way you could die like that is if you broke your neck to completely stop moving 100%. Sorry.
Well, and both times you can see that she's her. You know when you hold your breath, your pulse.
Oh, boom, boom.
You can see her shirt moving from her pulse, and she actually squirms a little.
You always notice when people are faking being dead.
I don't like half-assed bullshit.
I could not fake being dead at all.
It's tough. So she's dead, and Gene Hackman is flipping out.
Oh shit! What do I do?
Oh my god! And he goes to Pritchard's house, and Pritchard is wearing a silk robe,
yeah,
jammy pants, and no shirt, chest hair akimbo. And he goes, oh, fuck.
I think I killed Susan.
I just needed to talk to somebody before I go turn myself in. Pritchard goes, I ain't about that shit.
Hey, let's slow down a little bit.
Hey.
Slow down a little bit. Now you say she's a whore and she's got a lot of suitors.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's a Russian spy,
Mm-hmm.
and he killed her.
I tell you what we're going to do here. You ever hear about that Yuri shit? And Hackman goes, of course, but I mean, that has nothing to do with... But it does. We are going to say, like Jason just said, one of her boyfriends was a Russian spy that for some reason killed her. And we somehow know that he's a spy, but we don't know who he is. We know that he was a spy, and he killed her because he's a spy. And Gene Hackman's like...
It's a house of cards. There is no Yuri.
It doesn't matter. All the intelligence agencies believe that there's a mole in the Defense Department.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, I'm on board. Thanks, Will.
I, in hindsight, would have liked for them to have had an offhanded comment earlier in the film about the rumors or the speculation. Because it just kind of seems like they're pulling this out of thin air and building this whole cover-up on it.
I don't know. I had no trouble buying it. I mean, they don't have to give you all the info.
No, it plays perfectly well,
yeah.
But it just sort of feels like, hey, remember that spy everybody's talking about? And yeah, because of the plot, but no, because nobody's been talking about it.
This movie kicks into gear so hard right here.
It does.
As soon as the Will Patton is like, this is the plan, it's like, oh shit. Now,
what I like about it is that Gene Hackman isn't immediately like on board, I mean, he's on board, but he's not like there's still a bit of him that's reticent and also fearful and nervous. You know, when they call in Costner to spearhead finding Yuri, and they give him the evidence that Susan's dead. That's how they know Yuri's Yuri, I guess. And Kevin Costner's reading the thing, and he goes, and he gets to her name, and he just, I mean,
it's amazing.
100 things are going on in his face.
Yeah.
And Pritchard even goes, Costner, you all right?
I need a minute.
He gets up. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. Gene Hackman goes, oh, I'm sorry. Are we boring you?
I feel like I'm in the corn.
I got to poop, he says. And he goes into his bathroom. And immediately after he closes the door, Hackman turns to Pritchard and he goes, God damn it. The guy we hired to investigate the crime doesn't believe it already. This isn't going to work. Pritchard goes, slow your roll, man. Chill. I like that moment because Hackman's a bad guy. You know, he's an asshole and an abuser. But, again, he isn't just immediately nefarious and mustache twirling. The detective CIB, I think, who's ultimately charged with arresting Yuri, comes in and they call out Costner and he's composed himself. And they're like, this is the guy that's going to, be the cop. He reports to you. And they go, all right, cool. Let's go check out the command center or whatever. And Pritchard is just sort of inserting himself left and right in this investigation for obvious reasons, but
just babysitting him basically.
It feels like, yeah, you kind of be like, man, what's going on with you? So they go down to the command center. We see the guy in the wheelchair who knows Kevin Costner.
What is that guy from? I meant to look it up, but I was too busy looking up everybody else of this.
All manner of things. Probably the Waltons, but I couldn't tell you for sure. Maybe Jurassic Park? I don't know. So they know each other, and they're like, yeah. Kevin Costner's like, well, I got to go to her house. I got to see the crime scene. And they're like, nah, we got that under wraps. Pritchard was over there earlier when he was cleaning the crime scene. We don't know about that, but we're going to say that. He wiped the handprints on the phone, which, I feel like Gene Hackman's fingerprints would be everywhere in that apartment.
Yeah.
Right? Not just the phone. He's just been there casually. It'd be on the toilet. It'd be on the door handles. It'd be on the refrigerator.
Would you have burned the place down? I would have set fire to it.
Yeah. And I would have dumped a few other bodies in there that I need to get rid of.
Yeah.
So they're like, we got this Polaroid that Pritchard, because he took it and asked Gene Hackman if he's in this photo. And he goes, no. So then he puts it in an evidence bag and he himself slides it into the pile of shit that they're going through from her apartment. So they're like, we got this photo. It's not got anything on it, though, because there's not enough silver or whatever. But we can use this high-tech computer program that's really just a dot matrix kind of thing in order to somehow algorithmically compile what we assume would have been on this photo.
I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit.
Yeah.
This doesn't exist.
They're also...
This is why people think that there's magic technology even now. You know, like now we're getting to the magic technology. But for the last 30 years, people are like, nah, they can just zoom in and enhance that photo and find out who the killer is. No, they can't.
So...
They never did.
To some extent, they do this next bit. But not to the extent, I think, that they do it in this movie. Where they're examining the contents of her stomach in order to try to pinpoint what her last meal may have been. They do that in real life. But what they don't do is use those chemical and sort of, I don't know what you'd even call it, but they use it to try to pinpoint an area in the country where those things would occur. So if she eats a lot of shellfish, somehow they're able to look at the green bar and say this shellfish bar is similar to the northeastern region of the country, not shellfish from the west coast.
No, I think they do this.
I don't think they do it to this extent. I don't think you can, like, in 1987, tell how much lobster in her stomach is lobster from the east coast and not the west coast.
Well, I think you're tracing elements in it that are stronger in one area than another. Like this lobster is eating large amounts of this thing, and this is only in this section of the ocean.
I guess. They do that in here anyways, and they find out where she went.
I do it. I'm in forensics. I didn't want to tell you. That's what I do.
They look at credit card receipts, even though credit cards are a thing, but as clearly established in something wild, not readily available to use in Italian restaurants. I rest my case. But they do find a receipt, and that leads them to the boat guy, who himself says, I can identify that guy. So Kevin Costner is at this point running around because basically he's going to be the patsy, but he doesn't want to be the patsy because he just doesn't want to go to jail. But he knows also that they're not going to put him in jail. If they can finger whoever Yuri is, their plan is to just kill him, point blank. Pritchard's, all over him, trying to get him to do the case. Gene Hackman's also trying to do the submarine thing. The CIA is sniffing around. They catch wind that they're doing a secret investigation. Kevin Costner was supposed to meet with the guy who gives them the budget, but Pritchard is like, no, we don't need this now. And Kevin Costner's like, I need to talk to you. And he goes, no, you don't. Pritchard goes, no, you don't. And the CIA guy goes back to Fred Thompson and he says, yeah, I don't know, man. Something's going on over there. And it seems like Kevin Costner wants to talk to me. And he goes, yeah, it sounds like there's some sort of a murder investigation. And we're pretty sure the lady is Gene Hackman's mistress. So they go to interview Nina, and Kevin Costner is trying to play it cool, even though she knows who he is. And Pritchard's like, you're here illegally from Johannesburg. I'm going to send your ass right back there if you don't tell me what I need to know. All the while, Kevin Costner is taking flowers out of a vase because he's going to bash in Pritchard's brain if he has to. But he doesn't have to. So they leave. And then we see a hit squad from Honduras who they're going to use to kill Yuri. And at one point, they realize that Nina is a threat of some sort. So they send the hit squad to go kill her. Kevin Costner drives a car right off of a lift, almost kills a man, and goes flying after them. And they get into a crash. And Kevin Costner gets out, starts running. And now they're upset at him, so they start chasing him. He jumps in a tree. He falls. They go down the bridge. There's a really tight foot chase that's happening this whole time.
They're always so close.
Here's what I'm thinking. Two guys in a suit that look bad who run uniquely differently from each other, but also in a really weird way. The one guy's arms, his elbows locked to his torso when he runs, or he looks like a T-Rex.
Really?
The main really bad-looking guy, not the guy that you recognize from other things.
Starship Troopers?
Uh-huh. And I'm thinking, I don't know, man. We see a guy who's been in the newspaper for being a boat hero, but he's dressed in his full-on white naval uniform.
And the Starship Trooper guy is holding a gun at all times.
And they're chasing this guy.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody might intervene.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're pushing through people and shit. And Kevin Costner jumps on a train, which is actually a train, I think, in Boston, not D.C.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Train talk.
And gets to the mall. Now, the guy's car's crashed, T-boned, and stuck on a expressway that they are now probably at least a mile away from.
Yeah.
He gets on the train, goes directly to the mall, gets there, finds Nina. It's like, you got to get out of here. They're going to kill you. They're already there. And they chase him, not her.
Hover packs?
Maybe. She runs away, and Kevin Costner fights them, and they, beat him up, take him back to the thing. And Pritchard's just like, man, you can't be... And he goes, fuck this. I'm out of here.
Get it, I'm out of here.
You better not. And he leaves. And then he comes back, though, because I think he tells the guy in the wheelchair he's the guy in the picture.
No, doesn't he? He sees the boat guy.
Oh.
And he's like, ah, shit. Here, it's all coming down right now.
Before that, Kevin Costner's in his office, and a guy comes in like, hey, we found some more evidence. It's a jewelry case that I think they found in her car. So, the jewelry case that Gene Hackman gave to her, that he got as a gift from the State Department, or while he was overseas representing the State Department, that she keeps her high-class jewelry in, she decides to bring with her on her relaxed, casual weekend getaway with Kevin Costner, and then also leaves it under the seat of her car. But it's already bagged and tagged. So he gives it to Costner. He goes, oh, I'll take that. He calls in that little dude who I thought was going to be the Brad Pitt character, but wasn't. He gives him the thing, and he goes, you need to leave here and go find out what this is from. And the guy does that. And he goes, excuse me, Mr. Costner. It's a jewelry box from an overseas visit that Bryce went on. Because he looks like he's a pimply kind of guy. And he goes, brilliant. Come back now. And that later then Kevin Costner tries to use to prove that Gene Hackman knew her, so he'll call off the search. So he confides in the wheelchair guy, I'm the guy in the picture. I was seeing her. I loved her. I never told her. I loved her, and she was killed by someone, and they're trying to pin it on me, and they're going to kill me. And he goes, oh boy, this sounds like a real pickle. But I believe you. So I'm going to jam up the computer that David Painter is using.
Paymer.
I
was excited to see David Paymer.
Me too, especially
as soon as I saw him. I said, David Paymer.
Outside of a David Mamet movie.
Or Payback.
Mel
Gibson.
And he goes, hey, we need to change the algorithm or whatever we do to do this instead. And he goes, what? That doesn't sound right.
Just do what I want, okay?
Take it easy, Sam. We're all working the same amount of time.
I'm sorry, dude.
So he doesn't. Even though it ultimately reveals that it's Kevin Costner. So, I don't know.
Just buying him a little bit of time.
So he goes, hey, can you tap into the State Department or whatever? Because I need a list of all the gifts to prove this thing. And he goes, I have to do a thing and get a guy. And he goes, can you just do it illegally? Yeah, I'll do it for you. So he does it. And it's dot matrix, print-offs. Kevin Costner periodically throughout the rest of the movie keeps returning to this printer that's just endlessly printing a list of names. And he starts looking at it. Shit, it's not here. Well, I mean, there's like 50,000 reams, and you're not watching it line by line.
No.
This is...
I think we skipped over the CIA being like, oh yeah, Will Patton's a homosexual.
That was during the thing where Fred Thompson reveals to his guy that a woman's killed, and he believes it's Gene Hackman's mistress. And he goes, well, what about Pritchard?
He's pretty cool.
He goes, well, rumor has it he's a homosexual. And if that's true, he'll burn in hell. Or something like that.
I don't think they say that last part.
He says something, and he goes, wow, he must be in hell. And he goes, well, if that's the case about Pritchard, he'll be there too, or something. He makes an allusion.
Do they really?
He does.
And so will he if you believe the Old Testament.
Basically, he's a heathen. But he doesn't sound like he's judging him. He's just saying if this is the case based on what everybody says, then, he'll be in hell or whatever.
Right, if a dick touches his lips,
but he doesn't seem
burns
to be
forever.
damning him personally.
Yeah.
So they do mention that, which is reinforced by the robe that we saw him in earlier. And its fastidious nature, because they are known to be fastidious, that group of people.
No, I have to pee again.
Go ahead. I'm going to get into it. So, Costner's back is up against the fucking wall, but he's got his wheelchair boy, whose bumper sticker on the back of his wheelchair says, yes, I'm drunk. I'm no student driver. He's believing him, but he's also kind of conflicted now. The boat guy pops up as an eyewitness, and they are effectively going through the Pentagon, the world's largest building, which purportedly has 15 to 20,000 people working in there. We are going to go room by room to see if he can identify Yuri. At the same time, they bring in the bellhop from the B&B, who is wearing his adorable outfit still. They couldn't give the guy enough time to put on his fucking jeans and t-shirt. And he goes, you sure you can identify this guy? And he goes, yeah, I can. I always remember the big tippers. Moments before that, the boat guy actually sees Kevin Costner and he goes, "That's the guy right there." And Kevin Costner manages to get away. And they're like, "Where'd he go?" "I don't know. I don't see him now." So they are now going room by room, trying to find Kevin Costner and finger him. Jason, that's the look I like. At this point, Kevin Costner is really sweating fucking balls. He goes back to Pritchard and he goes, man, I'm sorry I exploded at you earlier. Let's just get this job done so we can do bigger and better things down the road or whatever. And Pritchard's like, yeah, I like that. We'll do that. And now Kevin Costner is trying to hide from the search that's going on. And they eventually go down to the investigation room, which, again, you're just going to bring an eyewitness into an investigation room in the hopes of finding Kevin Costner? Well, it's the only room we haven't been in. So Kevin Costner advertently spills coffee on his pants. I got to go change. I can't be seen like this.
Shit, I look like I diarrheaed myself.
And even though, effectively, the search is for everybody, they're like, all right. And he goes to his office. And
You couldn't possibly be Yuri.
No, and they go, oh, we're at Kevin Costner's office. Oh, it's locked. Well, we should probably go in anyways. Kevin Costner busts out an incredibly large vent and hides in it. Guy comes in, looks around, looks up at the vent, and even though we can see that Kevin Costner is visible in the vent,
looking down,
guy doesn't see him.
Not hiding, just like staring right through the slats.
Ain't nobody here. And so Kevin Costner's back is up against the wall. The hit squad, they are now actively pursuing him because the picture reveals that it's Kevin Costner. Somehow Pritchard knows it's Kevin Costner.
Oh, isn't it the wheelchair guy tells?
Oh, yes. He goes, hey, Kevin Costner's acting weird.
To Will Patton, right?
In the gymnasium.
Hey, Will, come over here by the basketball court. I got to talk to you.
Yeah, we're in a really large, cavernous, echo-laden room. I'm going to need to tell you something that's going to require you to then pull out a .38 snub nose and shoot me several times. Oh, no, wheelchair guy's dead. And it was Kevin Costner. He's Yuri. And so now everybody's gunning for Costdog. And he has the print off.
Yeah, he's got a little sheet of paper he's running around with.
Even though it didn't exist in the print off that they were aware of, he actually had wheelchair guy manually enter the log that says this box is from Gene Hackman.
Oh, really? He did that? Oh, I missed that.
He goes, well, where is it? I don't know, man. They're just printing it off. Well, can you just add it? Yeah. Well, where is it? I mean, dude, it takes a little bit. And finally, he's got it. He's running. Hoo, 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 hoo. They're chucking. They're diving. Boom, boom, boom. The guy pulls out a straight razor and cuts him in the arm. The guy who runs weird. And he kicks him in his nuts. And he busts the other guy in the face with a fire extinguisher.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Runs up to Gene Hackman's office. The woman's like, you can't go in there. And he's like, fuck you. I'm bleeding profusely. Pushes the buzzer, rushes in. Gene Hackman's like, what the hell are you doing in here?
You're not looking for a Russian spy. You're looking for somebody who knows Susan Atwell was your mistress. Pick up the phone and call off the search now.
Pritchard busts in. Oh, shit. We got to do something. And Gene Hackman's like, jig's up. Turning myself in. And then Pritchard goes, no, we've worked too hard for this shit. He pulls out a gun. He's all frantic. Gene Hackman's like, look, you inadvertently killed wheelchair guy. I'll vouch for you. You'll go to jail, but it won't be that bad. And Pritchard, in a moment where you think for a split second, might
pop Gene Hackman.
Kills himself.
Yeah.
Busts his brains out.
This is pretty good.
Yeah, CIB rushes in. What the hell? And Hackman, in a moment of pure genius, goes,
your search is over, Major. He shot himself.
Oh, it was Pritchard. He was Yuri. And the guy, he goes, all right. It's over now. And he goes to Kevin Costner. Yeah, you gotta back this up, man. We'll be cool. And he leaves. And he goes to Sean Young's grave, where a big bald guy and another guy roll up on him. And you think
that big bald guy, I think, is from Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
He is the Swamp Thing.
He's like, no, he's not the Swamp Thing. He's like he's turned into like a pig guy.
Oh.
You remember that?
He's very striking.
He's got a very specific look to him.
He does.
He looks kind of like Divine when Divine was in man mode.
Yep.
Remember Divine from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so shit. They you think they're bringing him back to Gene Hackman, and now we're at the beginning of the movie. And he's losing his shit because he's yelling at a guy behind a mirror. Why don't you come out and face me? Which you think is Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It's his landlord.
What? And he says to him, rent.
And his skinny daughter comes out like, can I make you a cake? And he goes, Russian language. And Kevin Costner goes, Russian language. And he goes, Yuri, they almost got you. You know, and he goes, well, you wanted me to fall in love with that woman, and I did. Well, we're going to take you back to Russia now. And he goes, I'm not going to Russia. And he leaves.
Fuck that.
And the guys pull out their guns, and he goes, hey, let him go. He'll be back. Where else can he go?
Yeah, I mean, they have his picture, right? So they're coming for him, aren't they? Is the American?
They
are the Americans
do
coming
see
for
his
him?
picture. I don't know what they're going to do with that, though.
Do you think he's free to exist?
I think he can just say, well, she was an escort. And that's a good question because he has established himself as this American military man, right? If he just continues to be there, he's going to have to go back on the boat and shit. He's an active serviceman, you know? So it's really unclear what's going to happen.
Wow, why do you think he doesn't want to go back to Russia? It's just so terrible there. Don't you think they set him up, man? They're like, hey, man, we got you a nice house in the country.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, it's too fucking cold.
Yeah, if he went back to Russia, I mean, he'd be an oligarch of some sort.
I don't know.
Maybe not an oligarch, but
they might just be like, hey, good job.
Go work at the radio factory like Lee Harvey Oswald, you shit. Now, as much as I do like the twist, I also kind of feel like it's really not necessary.
It's kind of great, though.
It's very great, especially, I think, for the time. I don't know how many movies would do something like this.
No.
I mean, M. Night Shyamalan invented the movie twist, so I'm not sure how he went back in time and used it in this movie.
With a time machine? What are you, stupid?
Well, that's the twist.
Yeah.
Right?
Karina Longworth.
That's me.
Of You Must Remember This warned me. The spoilers for No Way Out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to these if you might see it. And I was like, I'm never going to see this shit. Boy, I would have liked to go into this fresh.
I'm personally, for me only personally,
yeah.
For me, I'm the kind of guy. I don't care if somebody tells me how a movie ends or any of that shit. Because it's seeing it that, for me, is like the most rewarding part.
Yeah, I had a really great time with this. It didn't ruin it at all.
You're like, oh yeah, it turns out that he's a ghost the whole time. In its simplest boiled down fashion, yes. But it's seeing how you get there that, for me, makes spoilers completely irrelevant. But not knowing that going into this movie, I think you would be rewarded by that ultimate payoff.
Yes.
Because you're not expecting that.
No.
You're just expecting he's acting irrational and trying to clear his name because he's about to be pinned for and possibly murdered for.
Yeah, it's a very scary situation.
A crime, right.
You're just like, oh man, I'm super fucked.
Everything he's doing here, there is one moment in the movie, right when he runs away from, I think, that big guy who's like, oh, that's him. But then he gets away.
Yeah.
He goes to a phone booth and he makes a call. We don't know who it's to. He simply says, yeah, I'm here or whatever. No, I can't come in now. I'm going to, you wanted me here or whatever. I'm going to do this thing. We don't know what the hell that is. But you don't question it.
But then
you find out.
He
He's
must have
hearing.
been calling headquarters.
Must have been.
Yep.
They were probably like, yeah, you're in too deep. There's no way out. You need to...
Is his name actually Yuri?
No.
I feel like there is actually no
They say
Yuri.
his name.
It just happens to end up being that there is a sleeper agent. Don't you think there is no Yuri?
No, Yuri is just like Bogeyman if
Yeah.
you're English. Boogeyman if you're American.
Babadook if
His
you're
his real
Australian.
name is, which is definitely not Yuri, But yeah, that's just sort of like look at this Joe Hollywood or whatever. Not whatever. So the movie ends. What did you think?
Oh, A++. Even knowing the twists,
Mhm.
I was like, this is a fantastic film. The first
Well made.
half hour or so, you're like, whatever.
Mhm.
It's fine. It's cool to see young Costner. Hey,
Mhm.
there's Sean Young with that awful haircut, but she's cute. But then once you get to the meat, it's just like, fuck, this is
Yeah.
like a really expertly written screenplay.
I feel like it's on par with movies like 3 Days of the Condor and even The Conversation with Gene Hackman, where you don't have a vital piece of the puzzle, but when you get it, it just turns everything on its head.
Mhm.
But it's also taut. It's a taut thriller.
You didn't talk about Sean Young being naked at all.
She was naked, and at first when you're in the limo, I'm like, oh, that's her nipple. I wonder if they meant to show that. But no, she takes off her coat at Nina's door, and she's just full blown naked.
Yeah. And there's like a really nice shot later on where her like rump is aimed at the camera, the way she's like laying and curled.
And then
it's like, look at my butt. It's like, great job.
Yeah.
Good butt.
And she's like, later on, she's like fully nude and spread eagle, and she's pulling her lips aside of her vagina. She's giving you a peek behind the roast beef curtain, and I'm like, hubba hubba.
I think I see another smaller Sean Young inside of there also peeling herself
and it flies out towards the camera. We see like the silhouette of an explosion in her labia. It's an interesting choice for an 87 thriller.
She's like a super babe in Blade Runner, right?
Yeah.
She's got that
she's got like
hair.
That Art Deco 50s style.
Yeah.
Huge shoulder pads. She reminds me a lot of Lorraine Bracco from Goodfellas in this.
Yeah.
I hate it because she's super loud, but it also works in here. I don't know. I like it.
What's your score for this hot ass movie?
Fuck, man. I'm just gonna go right off the cuff and say a 7.
Fuck, I'm giving an 8, bro.
Cool.
I think it's a baller ass movie.
It's pretty dang good. Now, I've seen it before, so there is a little bit of that. Now, I wasn't as familiar with it seeing it a second time, so I was pleasantly surprised by how much more was in the movie. I'm just like, oh yeah, he's a spy and he's running around trying to find a way out. But
there is no way out.
There is no way out. Although there is, but there isn't. Yeah, good movie.
Yeah.
Pitt.
What did you think of Costner? Give me a Costner number.
This is solid Costner, man. I think in a lot of ways this is perhaps one of his best performances. He doesn't get a big head, but he always seems to then go on to play guys that are just kind of like absolute in their righteousness.
I feel like he's always like an aw shucks kind of guy.
He is very much aw shucks, but he's always on the right side of things.
But he's a real dirty bitch in this one. I'd give him an 8. What do you give him?
Pitt?
Costner.
Oh yeah, 8 all day long.
All day long. Just fucking keep giving him crazy 8s up his butt. Pitt, what do you got? Yeah, okay. Our wonderful Pitt rankings. What do you rate Bradley Jones Pitts?
Honestly, it's really good extra work. It exists, but in no way does it detract from Costner's performance.
It does now because you're like, fucking Pitt. I found him.
Right.
I found him. Babe, that's Brad. I found Brad Pitt.
That's very true. But at the time, I mean, I've seen this before, and I didn't know it was him. And I probably don't even remember noticing that scene at all. So he's doing it. But he's got that, he sneaks in that laugh the last moment.
To get his SAG card.
And that laugh says, wait till you see me in Sleepers.
Yep. 10?
10.
Brad?
10.5.
You get a 10. Really? Shit, I would only give Floyd a 10.
Yeah.
Floyd on the couch.
Right.
God. Tomorrow. What happens tomorrow, Julian?
More Pitt.
Pitt,
day 3.
On the 3rd day of Pitt, Miss my true love gave to me. No man's land. Stealing fucking cars with D.B. Sweeney.
Having AIDS and giving it to my partners over the years. He's got AIDS, right?
Yeah. Is it AIDS or is it HIV? He seems like he'd have full-blown AIDS. I'm not going to manage it at all. I'm going to go ahead and let him mutate and get me.
It'll be fine.
I'll just keep drinking this fucking tiger blood.
I also refuse to wear condoms. So watch out, Denise Richards.
God. Okay. Yeah, we'll be back with a wonderful Charlie Sheen movie. Hey, follow us on Instagram, Facebook.
Mm-hmm. We'll be working at Jenny O's Turkey Place.
YouTube, Reddit.
You can see us in the lunch line. Yeah.
You get a signing bonus if you work at that plant.
I know.
And I think they give you turkeys on the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
We doing filmographies.
We on Twitter do filmographies.
You can email us at wedoingfilmographies@gmail.com.
Yep. You can call us at 612-760.
I've been Jason.
I've been Jules.
This is the 30 Days of Pittsmas.
Yep.
See you tomorrow. Pit Stop Serrano!
Uh-huh.
No. Jenny heard us con down here earlier.
Oh, really?
It's like, I heard you say something about the crow, and then I heard you go,
We Doing Filmographies is proud to be a part of the Now Playing Network. Find other great podcasts at nowplayingnetwork.net, like Tracks of the Damned, where host Patrick Ripley goes full commentary mode on a bucket of horror movies. Tracks of the Damned at nowplayingnetwork.net.